I can now measure people for coffins without spoiling the surprise. Well worth the money. What?
Realtors.
What is that?
A real estate agent.
Say it again.
Realtors.
We didn't want to do this episode. We really didn't. Knowing that our kid was being groomed in our own home was just a gross, violating feeling. Welcome back. This is episode 36. And we have something fun planned today. You've been wanting to do this one for a minute.
I have.
If you don't already know, here on Resurface podcast, we have gone through some hard stuff. So we choose to laugh. That's part of the way that we get through it. And so we always choose to laugh first. If you aren't into laughing, then there's a timestamp. You can skip ahead to the main topic, what we talk about. But if you're here for laughing, then, I mean, we're hilarious. I mean, I find us to be hilarious.
Yeah, or Dave Chappelle-esque.
Yes, correct. We are that level. And so, yeah. So what we're going to do today is we're going to react to some Amazon reviews.
Yeah.
And so we found some separate ones. We don't know what each other has, and we have to guess the product.
There you go. I'm going to try my best, too, because it's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard. Yeah. But the bit is the reviews themselves. Yep. And honestly, since we're so funny and we are Dave Chappelle level, we should start writing these. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm quite confident I've written one or two that are fairly funny.
You think so?
I actually think I have.
What product?
I don't remember. I'm going to have to look it up.
Okay. All right. Well.
Find me on Amazon. It's like I think my thing is another Amazon Loyal, which I'm surprised I even got that. I got that like a long time ago.
Oh, boy.
Anyway. Okay. Let me adjust this real quick. Okay. My mic just teleported. I am going to read the first one. Okay. Okay. Whatever you do, do not fill up a super big gulp cup with blank and chug the whole thing. My heart has either stopped completely or is beating so fast I can't my own pulse. I guess I mean can't find it. I don't know. Cons. I haven't slept in 72 hours. I can't feel my face. I peed this morning and I'm pretty sure it was 99% blood. Pros. I've deep cleaned my entire apartment and I can read minds.
Okay. If I had to guess, it sounds like it's probably some kind of like pre-workout.
Mm-mm.
No, really.
Close though. I mean, it's obviously an energy thing. It's actually 5-hour energy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, this person must be uber sensitive.
That's interesting.
Also,
so that's kind of right. Then.
Filling up a super big gulp cup. Like, yeah, do you know what that is? That's like massive.
No,
like, it's a huge cup.
I know what.
So how many did they like buy a bunch? I need to know. Did they buy a bunch of them?
I would assume they probably had
scary.
Those little packets that you can buy that have a bunch in them. You just dump them all in the cup.
That can't be.
I wonder if it's like a truck. If it's like a truck driver or something.
No, because they clean their whole apartment.
Well, I guess so.
I don't know, but that sounds really dangerous. But it made for a really funny review.
That's insane.
Yeah. Or it could just be totally made up.
Yeah.
This one says, I never considered the ramifications of this. Sure, the wife loves it, but if you buy it, you'll never be able to get close to your wife again. It creates a freaking wall of china in bed. It's like she's wearing a freaking suit of armor to bed every night. I hate this thing.
Oh my goodness. A suit of armor. What is it, like a weighted blanket?
Yeah, you got that right.
Look at there. Look at that.
Yeah. So the weighted blanket is the block.
Good gracious.
Which will be bleeped out, but everyone can figure out what I just said.
Yeah.
Mila's ours.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, maybe I should get a weighted blanket for that purpose. This one is titled Sleep Glorious Sleep. Turns out I didn't hate life, everyone, and everything. I hated my blank. I used to be roused from sleep easily, but I have slept through 2 neighborhood shootings and an elderly relative falling down the stairs. Just the best. Thinking about getting a second and quitting work.
Probably some type of headphones.
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm-mm.
What is it, CPAP machine maybe?
No. You can't buy a CPAP machine on Amazon.
Why not? I bet they
it's
got
a medical
knockoffs.
device. That's scary.
I bet
No,
they
it
got
has to have a
knockoffs.
prescription.
Bet they got knockoffs.
Don't buy your CPAP machine on if it's on Amazon, report it.
I'm going to. I'm going to find one.
What if that is someone's used CPAP where they have like snored and snotted and
I got nothing for you.
like
I don't
in
know.
it?
Anything but deep clean. That's all I'll say.
I did buy a used breast pump. I didn't get any weird infection.
Well, yeah, I would almost. That's almost just as bad, if not worse.
I sanitized it.
Well, okay, that's my
It was
point.
the ones
you can
that go
sanitize all of
in.
it.
It was the ones that go. Remember that like one that you can wear around?
Yeah, vaguely.
And it made me like Dolly Parton because they were so big.
Mm-hmm.
That was used.
Okay.
And then it didn't work right or whatever, and I returned it, and I got into a eBay fight with the girl that sold it to me. But it was her fault. She sold me a faulty product.
Yep.
Anyway, okay.
I usually enjoy things that are a little kinky, but apparently this blank believes in healthy boundaries and emotional stability. I tried twisting it, folding it, and creating unnecessary drama, but it refused to participate. Instead, it just laid there flat, did its job, and delivered consistent performance like some kind of mature adult. Honestly, weirdly refreshing. My relationship could learn a thing or two.
Is it a doll?
No.
I don't know. It's the only thing I got.
It's a garden hose.
Does that not sound like a doll to you?
Yeah, but I mean the garden. I just that was hilarious. Oh my goodness gracious!
That's not where my brain went.
I know it's not. That's why I read it because it was really good.
Yeah. Well,
it was really good.
You like things vanilla.
Okay, I'm not going. No comment. No comment.
Okay, this is old. They don't sell this product anymore.
So how am I supposed to guess that? If
No. It's just wait. I must say, I'm really disappointed that we gave women the power to write. Lately, they've been thinking they can do things like vote, get jobs, and speak their minds, as if their opinions are worth as much as their husbands or something. Quite frankly, I miss the days when the women were at home knitting and cooking and raising the children, not writing. This blank is only aggravating a harmful situation that we ourselves brought upon our society.
Gosh, there's a lot to unpack with that. What are you trying to do? Get me in trouble?
No.
What is it, newspaper?
No. It is Bic released a pen about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Called Pens for Her.
Okay.
And the reviews on it, obviously, lots of those I could not read.
Well, I assume not. I don't really understand why products do that, where they like segment only a portion of the population.
Are you a feminist?
No, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Even in my profession, I see like there's some realtors that'll be just like
what?
Realtors.
What is that?
That's basically a real estate agent, essentially.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's how you say it?
Yes, it is how you say it. Yeah.
Say it again.
Realtors.
That is not how you say that.
It is how you say that.
It is realtors.
No, it's not.
Yes.
There's not an extra E in there.
I don't care.
There's not an extra E in there.
No one calls them realtors.
And everybody in my industry would lose their mind on you if you said
realtors.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's not what they're called.
No.
They're
they
realtors.
No one calls them that.
No, they're not.
Not a single person.
Okay. Anyway, can I get back to my point?
Not really. I mean, I can't. Like, I'm so distracted by this right now.
The big pen that you said marketed.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with realtors?
Just as an example, why would you market to one segment of the population?
Maybe they were colorful and glittery. Bring back big pens for women.
Who doesn't say men don't like that too?
I mean,
here I am wearing a purple shirt. I like it.
Realtors is what I took away from that.
Yeah.
And that's
you learned
not
something
correct.
Today. Is it my turn now or is it yours?
No, because I forgot one. Great for measuring people. I've been wanting to buy one of my friends a coffin for his 67th birthday. I do want it to be a surprise though, so measuring him has been the most difficult thing. Thanks to the blank on the blank, I can now measure people for coffins without spoiling the surprise. Well worth the money.
Okay. Goodness gracious alive. I don't even know. I want to say it's some kind of like laser or something.
It is the LiDAR scanner on the new iPad Pro.
No, okay. All right.
I guess he's scanning his friend for a coffin.
I guess so. It's pretty funny.
I mean, first of all, I doubt bro's buying his friend a coffin, but like that is...
It's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yep. This is kind of a long one though, so I apologize. I'll try to read through
Is it funny enough?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
I'll be
so.
the judge of that.
Well, the subject is rant. Avoid this product. Cloud account required. Are you freaking kidding me? Why does a blank need access to Wi-Fi?
Alexa. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
No.
That's exactly what I announced. You're right. It's a bit of a mouthful. Maybe
Alexa.
next time we'll keep...
Shut up. Okay. What is it?
Thermometer.
Well, they want to keep your temperature on the cloud.
I got nothing for you.
It's probably like a ovulation thermometer or something.
I don't know. It's a guy
You know
that
how
wrote
those
it.
work?
What?
Ovulation.
No, nor do I care.
Basal body temperature.
I don't care.
You want to know?
No.
You can take
You
a
can
guess.
go to your next one.
You can guess.
I don't want to. Are you ready? Is it your turn?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it my turn. Yeah, it's always my
I'm
turn.
sure you is.
That's not how proper grammar works. Realtor.
Uh-huh.
Greatest book of all time. It's called Jeff Bezos' Biography of a Business Titan. Is a wonderful book about an extraordinary human being, and I would like to very sincerely apologize for my previous review in which I claimed the book was a terrible writer's pathetic effort to ingratiate himself to a wretchedly greedy megalomaniac. This very unfortunate lapse in judgment was probably due to a few glasses of wine reacting badly to my antidepressants. In truth, the book chronicles the rise of a man whose charm, can-do attitude, and innovative genius have completely revolutionized the world, and I'm very ashamed that I called him a rabid, cutthroat, fat cat with a head like a fleshy bowling ball whose only real interest is in world domination. Lastly, I would like the two gentlemen who showed up at my door to talk about my hurtful words to know that I am stricken with incredible remorse and that I won't be writing anything negative about Mr. Bezos in the future. It was hard enough to write this correction with broken fingers.
Yep.
Oh man, that was funny.
Yep.
I wonder if the guy actually read the book.
Oh, I doubt it. I bet that's pretty funny though.
I bet those guys did show up at his house, huh?
I don't know. He's got enough money to make them do it. That's for sure.
For writing a bad review on his book.
Yeah. Best blank out in the market. This blank rocks. At first, I was hesitant to buy it because of its price, but then my Mousy, Mausi, what is that?
Don't know.
Okay, I don't either.
Alexa, what is Mausi?
Mousy is a Hindi word that means auntie, and it's also used as
Oh.
a name that can mean...
Alexa, stop.
But then my Mousy advised me to sell kidneys if I wanted
You're probably
to buy
butchering
this.
that, by the way, so you should apologize.
I'm sorry up front
Okay.
if it is.
Good.
I had to sell both kidneys because one was not enough. Never regretted my decision. Whatever you do, play games, watch movies, listen to music, this blank produces best sound in every case. There's one problem, though. My aunt is no more.
I'm so utterly confused right now. All I caught was sound.
You don't get what he said?
No.
Okay. We'll just guess the product first.
Like, I don't know, earbuds or something?
Yeah, they're headphones. It essentially took 2 kidneys to buy them because of how expensive they are.
Yeah.
And then he says at the end, there's one problem, though. My aunt is no more.
What does that have to do with it?
He used his aunt's kidneys, not his.
I don't get it.
It's okay.
I really don't.
Okay, that's fine. It's all good.
You'll have to explain that one to me later.
Okay.
Why do he use his aunt's kidneys if she's dead? Is she dead because he used her kidneys?
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Well, he should have used one of his and one of hers. That would have made way more sense.
I have no idea. I want to know if he still got the headphones.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if he killed his aunt to get him, then he's probably in jail. The smarter thing would be cut one of your kidneys out and then cut one of your aunt's kidneys out. Okay. This says, yes. It's just the subject line. I bought these so I could hide them everywhere for my fiance to find. At first, he thought it was a charming new bit of mine. He thought I only had 1 or 2 of these tiny blank. He thought wrong. Hearing his deep, exhausted sigh followed by, oh my, God, because he has found blank number 175 has brought me more joy than I can ever describe. The fear in his eyes when he opens anything because he is expecting a small blank has produced more serotonin than you can imagine. He is a broken man. I have destroyed his hope of living a life free of these blank. We will be finding these for the next 70 years. I will purchase these again. So basically she's hiding these things all around the house and he's a broken man and it's bringing her significant serotonin, which is like, I don't know, something I need.
Okay. Gosh, I don't know. Legos?
No, there's no chance you're going to guess it in 1,000 million years. It's those.
Oh my goodness gracious. Wow.
They are tiny plastic babies. They're about 1 inch long. Look.
Goodness gracious.
So she bought, I think the original review was like, oh, it was 200 pieces.
Goodness
So she
gracious.
bought 200 and hid them all over the house.
Woo. Does he like go search for them? Or
No,
is it just
he
something
just
she
finds them in
does?
random places.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. You got another one?
No, I'm good. That's it.
Done? All right.
I'm done.
Moving into our serious topic.
Sure.
Before we do update on, because we did a pretty heavy episode last week, everything is still pending, still in flux. Like there's really no big update there. We did get Carowinds tickets.
Yeah.
They had a big sale, actually a significant sale. So we were able to get those and I'm really looking forward to doing that. I think that'll be really good for us. And yeah, still working everything else and just kind of waiting on all the things.
Yep. Yeah, we got friends coming into town when we're going to use one of them, so it'll be good.
I'm stoked for that. It's going to be so exciting.
I am too.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a serious topic to talk about today.
Yep.
It's something that is scary and dangerous, and we figured, as we do here on this podcast, we would discuss it because it happened to us and our family, and it is something that, I mean, everybody, but definitely parents need to be aware of. The short version is one of our children, which we will not identify which one. Well, let me back up. We really tossed around whether we should say it was a friend's child, whether we should say it was a minor that we love. But then we thought the part of this podcast that we feel is important is to remain authentic. And doing that isn't. Not being the parent involved in this isn't inauthentic. Even though it's uncomfortable to talk about, and even though, you know, yeah, you guys will see. But anyway, we will just say it was one of our children, and that's where we'll leave that. If we slip up and say anything, it's going to be bleeped out just in case. But we basically found out that one of our children was being pursued by a person claiming to be a teenager who is very much not a teenager on Fortnite in direct messages. And this person, there was enough that was happening that we had to contact law enforcement. Our child did not do anything. There was no actual crime committed, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because we found out, but this happened, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we were shocked, absolutely shocked. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's important too for people who don't understand what Fortnite is to probably understand essentially what it is. I mean, it's an online game that kids play, and they, you know, can chat, they can talk to each other, they can do that. I mean, our kids like it. I mean, they all three play it. Probably, I would say, probably one of the most popular out there. If it's not the most popular, it's very close. So just to give you some perspective of what it is and kind of what it does. It's basically just an online video game for I mean, kids to adults. There's a lot of adults that play it too. So.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume that there are many other games just like it that have private messaging.
Yep.
Okay. So we don't want to limit this just to Fortnite. We're not attacking Epic Games.
Gosh, no.
There are parental controls that you can enable for Epic Games. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Epic Games themselves has restrictions for kids of a certain age. Kids can lie about their age, though, unfortunately. So this isn't about Epic. This isn't about Fortnite necessarily. It happened in Fortnite, but there are other games where this can happen. Minecraft, I believe you can private message there too, correct?
Yeah, you can.
So just that happened, and we found out that it went far enough to where I think I said we had to contact law enforcement. And yeah, so we're gonna get into that because it's a hard thing to talk about. Like, we didn't want to do this episode. We really didn't, but we really felt like if we didn't, then it doesn't serve anybody to hold it to ourselves. This is important. This is really, really, really important. And the police officer that came here to our home to talk to our child said that these guys we are in a high trafficking area, and that they are coming in from, other states.
Yep.
And, Charlotte is really close to the South Carolina border. Regardless of the fact, even if you're not in one, this is still uber dangerous. We do want to caveat this by saying that our child, while our child knows better, still did not do anything wrong. This child is the victim, not the perpetrator. So briefly, we'll just talk first about what technology and safeguards that we already had in place, if you want to talk about that.
So yeah, at home we've got a pretty decent amount of safeguards in place. I've got a router that monitors network traffic. We've also got screen time settings and all the other stuff that we have. We have Bark Home.
Bark Home is one of the big things that we'll get into.
Yeah, it's one of those things that monitors your entire network for stuff like that. But so far, I mean, of course, there's other systems that do different things. Like they each have their own security settings and parental settings that they have. But in this case, that's what we had set up.
Yeah, and then for any Apple devices that have to be given for school or whatever, they're set up on like our family account with parental controls there. We have parental controls on the Nintendo Switch. Any cell phone that is given to our child is a Bark phone, which I highly, 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 highly recommend, and we'll link down below. So yeah, we always have been very, very careful. And I think that was part of what was so shocking to me was we've been so careful, and we were naive to think that we were careful enough, right? Like, and I think that if there's anything that I would want anybody to take away from this, it is don't think your protections are enough, because they're not. They're never going to be. I think it's really comes down to A, talking to your kids constantly, and B, looking. Don't rely on technology to alert you. Look, actually review.
Yeah.
And that's hard because we're busy. Everyone's busy. Life is busy. The last thing that you want to do is sit and go through a device and comb through it and all that kind of stuff. And, the temptation to be quote unquote a lazy parent is very real. And we fell into that. So yeah, it's hard, but there's a cost to that.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a double-edged sword with that, is that you want to put safeguards in place for your kids, where you can monitor this stuff so that you can teach them when they eventually go out into the world how to handle it. The other problem is you don't want to do it too much, because you will end up, once they leave, the nest or whatever term you want to use, they're not going to know how to handle all the things that the world throws at them. So there is that balance. There's that balance that you have to be careful of. It's just difficult to try to find that. And each kid has, I think, a different balance. There's some that handle it very well, and then there's others that may struggle a little bit more. So it's always trying to find that, perfect middle ground there where you can teach them, but also monitor at the same time so that something does not happen. Because if you do just go through life acting like your kids do what they want, let's just leave them to their own devices, essentially. Things happen that are not supposed to happen because of that. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, so the next thing that we wanted to talk about was how we found out.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that we found out, and I'm not going to name the kid that told us, but one of our kids told us that this was happening with another kid. It's not anything that we did. We didn't find out because we're good parents. We found out because another child told us, and we're extraordinarily grateful for that. Now that's caused some friction between the children, but regardless of the fact, it was critical that child tell us. What went through your head when we found out?
Who is it? Where was it at? Like,
what do you
happened?
mean, where was it at?
Like, where did it happen? Like, what I mean is, like, what device, what game, whatever it is.
Oh, and it was on an Xbox.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to. That's the first thing I wanted to know who, what, where.
Yeah.
Trying to figure that out so that I could get the full story of trying to figure out what did I do, to allow that to happen. So that's the first thing that went through my head.
Let me correct myself. It was actually not on an Xbox, and this is, I think, really important to let parents know. Is your child can sign into Xbox Live on a computer and play with a controller connected. It was Xbox Live, but it was not on the actual Xbox device, at least as far as we know. It took place on the actual computer. So I said Xbox, but don't think that just because you may not have an Xbox or whatever, like you can have an Xbox Live account without an actual Xbox. Correct?
Yeah, you can. You can use the Xbox
so like
account.
Just because you don't have an Xbox does not mean that your child cannot play Fortnite on a computer.
Yeah.
Which is really honestly scary. The other part that we wanted to talk about was what exactly this person said. So this person claimed that his name was Cody, Kodi. He claimed to be 17 years old, and he claimed to weld as his job. Obviously, spoke as if he was typed as if he was 17, which is not hard to mimic. But one of the things that was interesting and one of the biggest red flags was one of the very first messages that he sent our child was, "Do you live in North Carolina? I live in North Carolina too." And what the police officer told us later was that is a red flag because these guys are super sophisticated and they can obviously have your IP address up, on their monitors or whatnot. And see your general location, not your like exact pinpoint geographic location, but your general location. So it would show what city or whatever that our child lived in. And so that was and would have been an immediate red flag. But what he was trying to do is create a sense of familiarity, like an immediate connection, I guess you could say, of camaraderie. Like, oh, I'm in North Carolina, you're in North Carolina. Like, I'm a kid, you're a kid. So yeah, so that was what he was saying. And, man, I like, I hate it, but our kid bought it hook, line, and sinker, right? Like, and I mean, I will say our child did say that he or she was a little bit suspicious, but not enough, obviously, to stop it. Not enough to say anything, not enough to cut it off.
To think anything would have came from it other than just getting another friend.
Right. To think, essentially what our child told us was, well, I would never go and meet this person. Okay. Well, like, that's what everybody says. And that's how it starts. And that is another thing that the police officer told our child was that's how it starts.
Yep.
And they all start out that way, innocent, thinking it's innocent. So the next thing was what he asked our child. So again, these are red flags. He asked our child what our child looked like. He asked our child, obviously, name, age, where our child lives. And he asked our child where he or she goes to school. Those are the things I remember off the top of my head. But, and then he continually asked for our child's phone number. And that right there is because he's trying to get that child off of the Fortnite platform onto a platform that is less restrictive, meaning you can send images or you can, whatever. And so those were the main things that he asked. But I'm probably gonna find. I'm sure that there is something online. I'm not gonna create it because I'm not an expert in this, but I want to find something online that kind of lists like some red flags and put it below. So check the description. I will find resources online, or at minimum a website where you guys can go and you guys can see some of these red flags, because I'm sure that there are many others. These are the ones that presented in this particular case, but I'm sure these perpetrators ask lots of things, and I don't want you guys to think that these are the only things that they might ask, right? There's probably a whole host of questions they try.
And another thing you could do too is reach out to your local sheriff's department, ask. I mean, because
non-emergency
yeah,
line.
the non-emergency line.
Don't
there
call
is
911,
one.
yeah.
There is
Unless
one just in case you didn't know, but you can definitely do that. Call them and get some pointers on what to look for, and that way you at least know, kind of what things to monitor, and they know because they deal with this stuff on a daily basis. So anyway,
yeah, that's a good point, because the police officer that was here works these cases a lot, and the female police officer, she had a lot of experience with these types of things. I could tell that she has seen a lot of them, and that was helpful for our child to hear.
Yep.
Honestly, it was helpful for our child to see a police officer sitting in our living room. I hope, anyways. I mean, it seemed to be. We mentioned that he kept trying to get our child off of the platform. The reason I mentioned it a little bit, but the reason why that is so important is, like I said, and you might be able to speak to this a little bit more, but I assume that Epic Games has some protections in place. I know you can't send photos.
Yes.
And do you know of any other specific protections? Like, are there flags for wording or anything like that?
They do have that, but you've got the flags, I think, are set up based on the age of the kid. So if the kid is,
or if they lie about their age.
Right, if they lie about their age, it's not going to help you. Now, there is a setting in there, I think, that you can turn on and off, like just bad words in general, like F word, whatever it is. Like, you can have it where if somebody sends it and then that's in chat, it will obviously blur it out. But again, if you're lying about your age, I mean, there's nothing really you can do about it. So
what about anything sexually explicit? Does it flag automatically?
It should automatically flag.
Is that age specific?
That's everybody.
Okay.
I don't think you can do that, period. And that's because the Epic would get in trouble, I think, I'm trying to remember who.
We'll verify and put it in the description below, but if that's true, and I assume that it is, that would be the reason why they want to get kids off of the platform and onto something like a phone.
Yep.
Because then there's no restrictions. But they meet these kids on games, and this is told to us by the police officer. They meet these kids on games, and then they move to get them off. And she said that is how they work. Moving to get them off of the platform is the move. That is the critical moment where they are moving to more dangerous territory, right? So if there is a person that is messaging one of your children that is repeatedly trying to get your child off the platform in any capacity, whether that is even social media, right? Like anything that violates their personal space or anything that gets them off of this gaming platform that they are on, that is a red flag. And most especially if it is their contact information, cell phone number, iCloud email address, if they just have like an iPad or a laptop or whatever, anywhere where they could be messaging in a less restrictive way. Huge red flag. Huge red flag.
Yeah, those companies like that, I'm pretty sure, and I know we talked about it a minute ago, but they are required to have some type of, monitoring in place. They just have to, because you're going to have minors that use your platform.
Yeah.
And so companies like Epic Games or even others, Microsoft, Sony, those type of people, they've got to have safeguards in place for that. So
the other thing is what action that we took. So if you find yourself in this situation, the first thing that we did was call the non-emergency law enforcement line in our area. And they sent an officer out to the home just to ask questions. They can take the device for forensic evidence, but in this case, there was no crime actually committed. Although we fully were ready. I like brought all these devices downstairs and I was like, whatever you want, you know, but there was no crime actually committed. I don't know if there was a report. I'm sure there was a report written up, but either way, you want to make sure that you notify non-emergency law enforcement because that person may be involved in something else that you don't know about, and your report could be the thing that locks them up. You don't know. The other thing that we did was we submitted a report through CyberTipline, which I'll put down below. Critical. Again, even though there was no crime, that username, that person could be connected to actual other instances, and enough of that or enough evidence of that could actually allow the FBI to investigate, or could actually allow, it could ultimately end up leading to justice and having this person locked up or protecting other kids. So regardless of whether an actual crime occurred, as in like photos or, whatever, submit it. And then finally, we submitted a report directly through Epic Games, reported the username, and saved screenshots, blocked the account. But yeah, those are the three biggest ones that you want to do: is non-emergency law enforcement, cyber tips, and any game platform that it is, submitting a report, if possible, and if not, find like a support email for them or something like that and send an email. So those are the three things that we did as far as reporting, and we'll get into technology protections in a moment, but anything else you want to add as far as the reporting aspect goes?
No, I think that's about it.
The other thing that's important to know is we do have Bark Home. So Bark Home, like you said earlier, is a monitoring device that is hooked up to your router.
Yeah.
And it can monitor any device that connects to your Wi-Fi, and you can assign those devices to each person in the home, and then you can create like different rules depending on what the device is. Obviously a Bark phone is going to have more robust, rules, but you can essentially at a minimum get alerts for each and every device. Now, this is important to know. Bark Home does not monitor Epic Games chats. It does not. So there's still a gap here, and I'm not saying that that's anything wrong with Bark Home. We love Bark. We think it's an amazing company. They actually started out working with law enforcement to catch these people before launching their products, but just know they don't monitor the Epic Games chats. Yeah. The technical reasons are probably why. Perhaps there will be an update in the future that allows that, but as of right now, that's not possible. The other thing that you need to know is that these chats follow through every device. So whether it is playing the Fortnite, like if you're logged into that account, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're logged in on that account, you can chat with that person, pick up that chat on a Nintendo Switch, on a computer, on an Xbox, on a PlayStation, correct? So just because it happened on one device does not mean that they couldn't communicate on another device. They all sync up together. It's just like Facebook, right? Like Facebook Messenger. Like you can get on Facebook on an iPad, on a computer, on is that it?
Well, you could do it on the watches.
Oh,
now,
wow. A
which is crazy.
a phone. Yeah. A watch, Apple Watch, whatever. So point is, just because it happened on one device does not mean that your child cannot pick up that message thread and talk to that person on another. And the other thing that the law enforcement officer told us that's very important is that they oftentimes, once they're blocked and reported, if nothing happens and their account is still active, or even if it's not, they will pop up again, either with a different username, same username, and a lot of times they'll pop up on another platform entirely. Meaning, if it was Fortnite, they might pop up again on Minecraft and be like, "Hey, I'm Cody. This is Cody." So even if you report, you want to make sure that you are monitoring the other platforms and the other games, because they can reappear, and not always on the same username, not always, even with the same name. They might even just start all over again, for all you know. But it is very common, is what she said, for them to pop up again. And target that same child's username, because they'd already started something, so they're going to try to pick it back up again.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add there?
Well, I mean, the reason for that is because they continue to do that stuff because they know it works. If it didn't, they wouldn't do it. I mean, that's just essentially how it is. So monitoring these devices are of the utmost priority. I mean, I understand there's some parents that want to just give their kid complete freedom, but nowadays, I just don't know how you do that. I mean, it's not 1992, where we didn't have this stuff and there was just no way to track it. I mean, technology has advanced to the point now where these type of things can be done. So if you hadn't, I'd recommend it.
No one was private messaging on an N64.
No.
Maybe that's what we should go back to.
We couldn't.
We still have one. We should just let our kids play that and be like, you got nothing else.
Yeah.
It's N64 or nothing. Honestly, it's not a bad idea. And then I wanted to talk briefly specifically about the Epic, because I think this is super important. The specific Epic Games parental controls and kind of how you can set them up. And the first thing I'll say before I kind of hand this off to you is ChatGPT or Claude or whatever is your best friend here when it comes to doing this. So it does not have to be complicated. You really don't even need YouTube to figure this out. You can just message ChatGPT for free. You don't have to, I don't even think you have to make an account.
Epic has a step-by-step instruction manual how to do it.
Great. Then I will not create anything. I will link below the Epic Games instructions for how to do that. I guess really the only other thing I wanted to talk about is just never think that you're safe, right? Like with Barkholm, now I will be perfectly honest, like even though Barkholm doesn't monitor Epic Game chats, like so we wouldn't have known about this. We didn't have it connected at the time because we had just switched to Google Fiber, so it had been disconnected, and then it had been 2 weeks and we hadn't reconnected it yet. The Barkholm specifically.
Yeah.
But regardless, we have Barkholm. We give a Bark phone. We don't allow social media when it's bedtime, or if we go to bed before our kids and it's summer because they're 16 and 12, then we take devices. And we've never thought, take the Xbox and then the Nintendo Switch. We just assumed naively and stupidly that those were safe, or just didn't think about it at all, really. So we've always had any computers, any iPads, any whatever brought to our room. And then if there's a cell phone involved, it's a Bark phone. So it's on bedtime mode and it's fully locked down. But regardless, the dangerous devices are the ones that we assumed were the dangerous devices. iPad, MacBook, Chromebook, whatever, you name it. Those were in our room. We thought we were doing a great job, and we thought we were awesome, technologically savvy, uber strict parents. And we are, but it still happened. And it was a violating feeling. I think for me, I felt like our family had been violated or infiltrated, or I don't know. It was just a really vulnerable feeling, just feeling like a complete idiot, feeling like a failure as a parent, feeling like I thought we had done everything that we needed to do, but we hadn't, or even just realizing and admitting, for me at least, we've been lazy. Like, we've been lazy in certain things. And yeah, we have, the Bark phones and Bark Home and all that kind of stuff, but we're not even super proactive about monitoring that. You're better about that than I am. But if we get like an alert or whatever, there's sometimes like I'll just kind of let them stack up. And that's not okay. And I think this taught me a lot. But just knowing that our kid was being groomed in our own home was just a gross, violating feeling. And yeah, I don't know. That's all I really wanted to add. And I was going to ask you if there's anything you wanted to say specifically to dads out there, and we'll close this out.
I mean, the only thing I'll say to it is just continue to monitor what you can. They're not going to like it for the most part. I'll tell you, you're going to get some pushback, and that's how it is. But I would rather have that pushback, especially at the ages that they are now, versus not having them at all. Because she did mention, especially the officer that came, said that they come from different states and they come to these areas, these hotbeds, essentially, where they know that, this has worked before, especially with the amount and population of people that are in these different cities. So she said that they come around from different cities and they'll drive as far as they need to for this. And so the problem is that, your kids may get frustrated and they may get angry and they may get upset. But the thing is you'd rather have them upset and mad at you and still have them home versus, out there getting kidnapped or whatever it may be, right? You just never know what can happen.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you pick them up from locally and you think they're going out with a friend, and then the next thing you know, they're gone. So you just have to be real careful. Especially, I mean, Rachel mentioned it a little bit ago, but it kind of humbles you, to think that, you got everything in place, you've got it taken care of. But for the most part, if you're not proactively monitoring it, even a short amount of time, there can be things that happen. So I just, as a rule of thumb, I would always stay on top of that, especially when you're dealing with minors, for sure.
One thing that I want to add that I just thought about is it is not just physically taking the child. There is also a form of this that includes the child sending photos and then being blackmailed. And we talked to the officer about that. So watch out for that as well. Essentially what happens is the child sends a photo and then it's a consistent, like, I'm going to tell your parents, I'm going to tell your church, I'm going to tell, whatever, if you don't do this or you don't do that. So just know that your child can be quite literally being trafficked, for lack of a better way of saying it. I just don't know if YouTube triggers that word, but trafficked in your own home without ever leaving.
Yeah.
So that is all we have. And if you guys have any questions, if you guys want to reach out to us and ask us anything specific, our socials are down below. I don't think you can direct message on YouTube, but feel free to reach out to us on any social media platform. Feel free to email us, contact@resurfacepodcast.com. We are more than happy to answer any questions, provide any additional information if we are able to do so. We just felt it was really important to get this message out there. So otherwise, stay tuned for episode 37.
Nice. Sounds good.
See you guys next time.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.